Hey everybody, my name is Sam and welcome to Green Acre Homestead. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different. It is a surprise project build that I'm going to bring you guys along vlog style for, and that is a new kitchen cart for Angela. Alright everybody, we're down at my workshop now and I've got here on my workbench a scrap piece of our kitchen countertop. This is what was cut out of the countertop for our sink to drop in. And then I've got the wood portion of our boy's crib / toddler bed that they've used over the past 8 years. Isaac, our youngest son, has finally outgrown it. He's now in a twin size bed, and this came down here because it's solid wood and I figured I would have a use for it someday. Thankfully, someday has arrived and I can now start to break this down and make up the material and pieces to build the frame, legs, and shelf of this kitchen cart. It looks like the majority of the construction are Allen bolts and barrel bolts, so let me go ahead and get as much of this broken apart as I can do, and then I'll have a better understanding and an idea of what kind of material I have to work with and what kind of hurdles I've got to overcome. Alright, so it looks like from this headboard I was able to get 2 legs that are full of holes from the different angles and brackets and all the hardware these things used. I think they're still good enough to use though. Then I was able to get this top rail of the headboard. This is a solid piece of wood and so is the top. Don't know if I'll use this or in what capacity, but I got this to work with as well. And then lastly, I have the slats, which probably will just get used for maybe the shelf portion of this build, but we'll see. Here is the front piece of the crib. It's kind of what you see is what you get. I'll set that aside for now. It doesn't come apart. This is factory assembled and glued, so if I want to use that, I'll have to cut it. I've got the left and right side of the bed. Let's see if these come apart. These look like they're glued as well. I'm gonna get my mallet and see if I can knock these legs off just to see if any of this wedges away. Alright, yes, this is a mortise and tenon joint, so this should be able to be knocked out. Oh, and now I see that there are screws going from here into the top rail. So let me go ahead and get these out first. Might make disassembly a lot easier. Get a pry bar for the rest of this. All right, that's usable. And there is the other leg. All right, I'm not going to try and break this down any further. I'll sit it down here with the other slats, and I'll just break down this other side piece of the crib. Alright, this leg piece blew apart pretty bad, so this one's junk. And let's take a look at these legs and see if they're really worth messing with. I have other wood in the shop I can use for legs, so if I don't end up using it for this project, it's not a waste. I just want to see how much of this I can reclaim and reuse as possible. So let me check out this stuff and I'll get back with you guys in a second. Alright, we're back. I've taken some time to look at the pieces salvaged off of the sides and everything, and these really aren't going to be suitable or usable for the legs. I might be able to use some of these pieces as stretchers or cross pieces for shelves and stuff, so I won't throw them away just yet. I'll set them aside. But what I'm going to do is use some of these 1x3s that I glued up a couple of months ago at this point, in plans of using it for table. What I'm going to do is take these 1x3s that I glued up a couple of months ago. These were originally designed to be the legs for this kitchen cart, and I'm just going to continue on with that pathway. I'm going to go ahead and rip these on the table saw to the correct widths and everything, and go ahead and move forward with using these as the legs for the cart. I'll fill in with this scrap wood as much as I can, but for now I want to go down this route. It's just going to be easier and end up with a stronger, more durable product in the end. Before I go on much further, I want to measure the top that I've got to work with and come up with the dimensions of the kitchen cart. This is roughly 19.5 inches by 31.5. So I'm going to make this into an 18-inch by 30-inch top. That'll give us plenty of room to work with without being too large. It'll allow me to get these edges that are irregular squared up and cut properly and still have a surface large enough to use in our kitchen. With one edge jointed straight, now I can rip these on the table saw to their final width, which is going to be right at 2 1/4 wide. Now that I have the legs ripped to their final width, I can take this and find out the stretchers. Two of these together are 4 9/16. Alexa, what's 28 minus 4 9/16?
28 minus 4.5625 is 23.4375. By the way, when you teach me your voice, I can start making your Alexa experience more personal. Would you like to take a moment to do it now?
No, you're not going to spy on me more than you already do. Not to say that. Alright, so we'll say these are 4.5. They're a hair bit over. 28 minus 4.5 is 23.5. Well, here's the basic construction of the legs and stretchers all together. As you can see, this is a very simple build. I just used wood glue, some 1x3s, and some screws, and assembled this in about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Nice. Ta-da-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Nice. It's a good size, good height. That'll be really cool in the kitchen. Alright, next I need to add a perimeter around this to keep from the edge of it getting beat up and chipped up, and also make it look a little bit prettier. So let me put this back up on the workbench and take a look at my scrap wood, see what I have to wrap this with. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do next. Well, it seems I found myself in another painting project. Do I like painting somehow secretly? I've slapped 2 coats of this very basic contractor grade Valspar white paint on the wood. I'm using it as primer. This is paint I have in my workshop. I've used it to paint the walls in here occasionally and using up what I got. Once these coats are done and they're dry, I'll hit it with the sand very, very lightly, and then I'll see if I have some of the better white paint, maybe what's left over from my kitchen cabinets, although probably not. We're saving that. That stuff was expensive. And I'll give it a final coat. After that, I'm going to put Danish oil on the oak trim around the top because Angela wants the more natural wood look at the top rather than it being painted white. She's also worried about, with this being a high rub, high use area with us grabbing the cart and moving it around and things hitting it and all that, she doesn't want the paint to get marred up or to flake off or otherwise get damaged. I'm not worried about the paint flaking off, but yeah, it would get dirty and kind of end up looking a little bit funky. What I want to do next is call it done, but I can't. I'm going to cut some slats for the bottom to make a little shelf and probably call it done for today, but we'll see. So, time to cut some slats for a shelf. Shelf slat is done, and that'll make a nice sturdy shelf there for putting whatever on there. I think it's going to be a KitchenAid mixer, but I'm not sure. Let me go ahead and hit this with some more paint and see you guys on the next step. Alright, that's everything painted up, but I need to let it sit at least overnight to let the paint dry and cure, and then come back tomorrow to hopefully finish it. Be sure and stay tuned for the next video, which will be the reveal to Angela of her kitchen cart. That's right, she doesn't know I've been making this. She hasn't seen it, so it's a surprise. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you next time on The Homestead.